So, is there anything we're not allowed to talk about, like spoiler-wise?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello.
Oh, yeah. You all right?
Yeah, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, not bad.
So I apologise, everybody. That's the whole 2 people that are probably in the chat. Oh, there you go. A couple of people just joined. Apologise for the lateness. My child refused to go to sleep. So joys of being a parent. Matt didn't know about it.
Don't have a clue, mate. I didn't look at my phone all evening, and that's why I literally just caught up with it there, and I was like, oh, God. So, but yeah, better late than never.
And Chris couldn't sort his mic out for a little while. So,
usual. There's no difference in there, is it?
Between the 3 of us, absolutely useless. But anyway, so I thought, considering there's been a lot of TV spots, lots of stuff going on in the Jurassic community at the moment with the trailer 2 dropping, we're trying not to. Obviously, we're not going to talk about that too much because, just in case Mike does join and wants to listen back.
Yeah.
But what I would like to talk about is the Atrociraptors and almost a little bit about like what they are and where they've come from, what we think is what we think is going to happen with them, and also which one we like the best. So so I think what I'll do is I will share my screen to discuss. I'll pop them up there. Look at them looking lovely. There we go. 4 little different designs. Chris, I'll let you get the ball rolling. So when you first saw these, when I'm talking like way back,
it was like 8 months ago. I think we got the first drop, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite.
I think it was not the heads. It was like the guys on the bridge that was holding the heads. What it that we first saw? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, decent. What did you think? What do you think about that from transitioning from that until what we've seen in the footage now?
Now, I don't want to be the prospect of doom as I usually am, right? But I love the look of the Raptors. I think the Raptors look sick. My only thing is, I wish we would have got something different because I think they're a little bit while the design of them is good and they add slightly different to the Raptors we've seen throughout the rest of them. They're a bit of a hybrid, if you pardon that, but between what we've saw in all the films combined into kind of one Raptor, if you like. But for me, when I think of Atrociraptor, I always think of it as feathered because I think that's how, from the fossil record, I think that's what they think they were. But that doesn't really bother me because there's loads of dinosaurs that are supposed to be feathered that are in the Jurassic franchise aren't. But as a whole, if we look at them as no dinosaur in the Jurassic Park franchise is technically the real dinosaur, so to speak, then I can get past it. So as a dinosaur, I actually like, is it tiger on the right hand side, the far right? Is that tiger on the far right? I quite like tiger. I think he's my favorite out of all of them. I do quite like Ghost, but I think everyone's meant to like Ghost. But overall, I like him. I just wish we would have seen something maybe a little bit different to what we've maybe seen in some of the other films. But I haven't seen him in the film, so it might be a bit different.
Yeah, I think that's tiger.
Yeah,
red in the middle. Is the greatest, but I think this is striped.
Yeah.
And you've got Ghost, you've got Red, and then you've got Panthera.
Yeah. As I said, I think they'll be in the film. I think they will be like. I think that whole scene. I think they've said it's about 13 minutes long. I think that whole scene is going to be a great scene with them, and I think the Raptors look awesome. I just don't know I hope there's a decent story behind the back of them, but in terms of the look, I think they look awesome.
Matt, you're up.
Yeah, I do like them, but I do think it's almost like a bit of a random decision, and I say that purely because the Atrociraptors is a dinosaur that's not very well known. Outside of paleontology, anyway. I think in paleontology, I think it's very fragmentary, like what we've got from it. I think they should have went with something like Utahraptor, which I've explained to you before. I'm like James, and I think looking back, as much as I love the design, I think it's an opportunity missed where I think it would have been a lot better or cooler, if you like, if this Raptor squad, if you like to say it that way, were feathered. I think that would have been a great way to introduce feathers into this film. I know, like the Pyroraptor aside, I mean, in Jurassic World we had the original Raptor squad. Like this could have been a really great opportunity to introduce a dromaeosaur that we were all aware of in Utahraptor and had it feathered. I think it could have killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's an interesting one because they've changed their skull slightly, haven't they, as well?
Yeah.
Made them a little bit more sort of squarish.
Well, we don't know what the real skull looks like. I think from the actual remains, it's top jaw, but only part of it, and maybe part of a bottom jaw. The skull's not there, so they obviously sort of done a lot of guesswork, which is obviously fair enough. But it just seems like such a random decision.
For the amount of for the amount of fossils that they've got of the dinosaur, I think you're right. I think it was a really random dinosaur for them to put in. Like you said, I think I would say they look more like a beefier Utahraptor, which I thought if they was going to go for it, I think that's kind of what the original Velociraptor in JP1 was based around, obviously, as opposed to, and then they just used the name Velociraptor. But yeah, do you think they're going to be trained?
Well, I've got a theory, haven't I, James? That I think for Dominion, and is it okay for me to tell it? I'm not sure if anyone sort of might not want to know what I think it is, because in case that happens to be like a bit of a spoiler. But
it might, actually, I tell you what, Matt, do us a favour. Can you exit out and exit back in because your mic's playing up?
All right, mate. 1 second.
Yeah. Do you know what with this? I think the reason why they put these in as well is in Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, we had Blue and the Raptor pack for the most part, and they had, especially Blue, had empathy towards, and that was kind of bred into her, so to speak, and bred into the new baby as well. Whereas I don't think these raptors have any of that. I think they're just pure brute force, and they're not meant to show any empathy, and they're meant to be a sharp contrast to what Blue is.
Yeah, we're quite used to how Velociraptors look now in this franchise, aren't we? So, you grow accustomed to it. I feel like, well, from what I saw, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how Velociraptor size they were. I actually thought they were going to be bigger.
I think they still are going to be a little bit bigger. I don't think there's going to be much in it. But yeah, they do look bigger in the skull, but in terms of height, I think they look about the same height as what we've seen. I also think they're going to be played as, like in JP1, the Raptors was always seen as being highly intelligent, quite sneaky, especially with that section with Clever Girl sequence where the scene is highly intelligent. I think these are going to be shown more as not necessarily less intelligent, but just more brute force.
I want to see. Well, I feel like we're going to get that anyway. But I want to see the Jurassic Park Lost World Raptors in form of relentlessness. Like, I know it's not the most animalistic sort of way of behaving, because most predators, once they've been outrun, they give up. you watch any wildlife documentary, you know. But the scene in Malta looks very, very interesting. And I'm wondering why they're not actually attacking anyone else. They don't seem like they are particularly
just focused on Chris Pratt, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying about them being, are they being trained, or are they like laser, like the Indoraptor was, where with the gun and the laser? Is there some of that esque in it where they're trained to go after, like in the jungle scene in Jurassic World, where they've been doing scent drills for the Raptor pack? Is it something similar to that, where they've got a bit of a scent of Owen, and that's why the soul latched onto him?
Yeah, Matt, I think you should just say what you're going to say, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk a bit closer.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit quiet, but it's all right. Don't think there's much you can do about it, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, I think that this Raptor squad, the Atrociraptors, are a follow-on from the Ibris project from Jurassic World. So, like Chris said, I think these are trained, but maybe they're trained with a specific target in mind, i.e., Owen and Claire. But if you look on the trailer, you can see that when they come out of their cages, Barry's there. And that's why I think it is a continuation of the Ibris project. Because obviously he had a hand in the original Raptor squad training. So maybe he's been hired by maybe Biosyn. Maybe these are Biosyn creations. But what they're doing in Malta, we don't know. That's where I'm sort of trying to struggle to sort of put two and two together almost.
Yeah, because I don't think they're part of that scene we've seen. I don't want to do a spoiler, but there was a scene in Malta where there's two dinosaurs in an area. I'll just say arm, and you'll probably know what I mean. I don't think they're part of that, but yeah, it's difficult to. I don't know why they're in Malta. They're the only dinosaurs I can't pin down to why they would be in Malta. The only thing I can think of is that Biosyn have maybe got like a headquarters in Malta, and that's why there's so many dinosaurs that are in that particular area and escaped. But I find Malta being a pretty weird choice of destination for that, unless it's revolving around that thing that I can't really say. It's so hard to try and like avoid stuff because we've seen so much.
It's fine when as long as obviously it's not. If it's officially released in the trailer, it's not necessarily a spoiler, I guess.
It technically did. It didn't get shown in the trailer, but I think it was shown in the Empire article. So,
right, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really want to go too much into that.
Well, I think when it comes to the whole Malta scene, the scene that we saw in the trailer too, that involved Barry, kind of asks quite a few questions, doesn't it? Because you instantly think like these are the baddies, but because Barry's there, it makes you almost think, is he aware of what they are doing? Because then it brings into what Matt was saying about using what he's learned at Jurassic World to make that actual Raptor squad, brings them, they've hired his expertise because they couldn't get Chris Pratt because Owen's on the run from, he's almost gone into hiding, I guess, with Claire and Maisie. So, they've gone to the second best option, which I guess is Barry, who's worked, hand in hand with the Jurassic World Raptors.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense to me.
It makes sense why he's there, if that'd be a logical answer for that. And I think I know why the Allo and the Carno, and I can pin why all the others are probably in Malta, but the only ones I can't pin is why these are here. That's what I'm struggling with at the minute. I don't think we've had enough story to tell us why these are there. Oh. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
I'll sort that out, I think.
Or maybe Barry's been asked to ask Owen to come over to Malta to help with for some reason with these raptors. and maybe Barry gets double crossed by the people he's working with. Hence why the Raptors therefore go after both Owen and Claire.
Yeah.
That would be a very Colin Trevorrow thing to do, I think.
Velociraptor means speed bird in Latin. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
No. Yeah, similar to what you were thinking. If he's in on the inside but doesn't really realise how deep he's in or what he's into, and then he maybe realises and then thinks, you know what, I need to bring Owen in here to try and get rid of all this.
There we go.
There he is.
Michael is in the house.
Mike.
Welcome, Mike.
Mike.
Creation.
Hello, everyone.
Mike. Can't hear me anyway, can he? Can he hear
No,
me?
I can hear you now.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so welcome to the stream, Mike. We've
Yeah. Sorry about being delayed as much as this. It's all fun and games as usual in the farm household.
No, you're all right. We're just currently talking about these Atrociraptors. We're talking. Have you? What have you seen of these, Mike? By the way,
The first trailer and the initial released images that came out before the trailer, but anything after that, no.
So we can
nothing.
talk pretty much most of it. To be fair, that's good. So from your initial thoughts, because obviously we've all spoke about the certain scene and how we've all said that it sort of mirrors the Lost World sort of behaviour that the Velociraptors have in the Lost World. Where they're like sort of hunting. They're relentless after Sarah and Ian Malcolm and that in Lost World. They've kind of got that sort of unrealistic behaviour. So what's your thoughts on, first of all, the design of them, and second of all, how did you feel when you saw the footage of them?
So the design of them for the images that we have seen, or the images I have seen anyway, I quite like it. I like the stocky, muscular, and sort of like, it feels like it's a heavier animal. The Velociraptor, as big as they were in Jurassic Park, the arms felt a bit too slender and the legs didn't feel as long as they should do. Whereas these guys, these feel like you could literally throw these into a brick wall and they'd still get up and come after you. So I like the design aspects for them on that front. As for the motion, they seem, from the clips that I've seen for the first trailer, they seem to animate quite nicely. I mean, I've not seen anything in the way of them in terms of like jumping off things per se and landing properly. But the fact that we have the shot of one of them colliding into the other one as they're turning into the to the plaza area, at least it shows that they've got a bit of fair weight behind them, so they don't just suddenly turn on a dime and they have no resistance to gravity or any kind of centrifugal forces. They will like throw themselves off balance. So I did like that aspect of them. So I'm interested to see what they're going to be like when you get full on film with them.
Yeah. So, Mike, which one did you like the best out of like just the colour and design?
In terms of the colour and design, I actually prefer the white one. Is it called Ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going from
Yeah,
going from left to right. So here you've got Panthera, then you've got Red, then Ghost, and then Tiger.
Yeah.
Now my favourite one is actually Red, and I think it's because it's I just like the underneath. You can't see, it's such a bad image. Underneath here, you've got some scales that I really like, almost like a snake, like a rattlesnake sort of scaling. And then
I do think they could have given it a better name though.
And the tongue, yeah, I know. And the tongue's got like a spiky texture to it.
So sort of like a cat's tongue.
Like the red and sandy coloured striping to it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as angry as these ones. It looks a bit more Velociraptor, I think, than say this one here does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could be the angle.
Yeah,
I think.
it could be the angle. I mean, it also might be the way that because this is a thing that Hollywood has a tendency to do with any kind of like carnivorous creatures. They'll deliberately sculpt a brow into the design of the feature so that it kind of gives it that angry look all the time, which is perfectly fine. But then when it's a trope that keeps being repeated over and over again, it gives this false sense of illusion to people that this is actually how the things actually looked. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Question? Panthera, was that not one of the Thundercats?
That's Panthro.
No, the female. Oh no, it was Chitara, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Chitara
yeah.
Was the female, yeah.
I needed someone more my age just to double check that one. Yeah.
When I actually heard the name for that one, I thought it was named after the that metal band Panthera, but I don't think it is.
Right. So these they've just appeared out of nowhere. They're a biosyn product, we've got to assume. There's no actual, on-screen evidence just yet, but we've got to assume that we've never seen any of these animals before, and it's got to be pure coincidence. So it can't be just pure coincidence. It's got to be a biosyn product. Now, where do you guys all believe they've got this, I guess, DNA from? Do you reckon they've made it from scratch? Is it a hybrid? Have they gone back to, I don't know, the Lost World? Gone back to the sauna because we saw that crate, that crate thing that was in the image that was released last year. Go around the table. I suppose we can go top to bottom and let us know your thoughts.
Go, Chris.
What was the question?
Oh my God.
So I was looking at that.
I said, where do you think these are come from?
Oh, right, where they come from. Laughing at that one. Do you know what? That's one thing that I'm puzzled with. Obviously, they come from the biosyn, but as to where they've got the DNA for this, I really don't know. That's one thing I'm stumped about in this film is where they've got the DNA for, because we can kind of guess where other things have come from, but again, they've got Giga DNA and all this lot. I mean, there was some in the Indominus, so we can get that. It's just this has never been referenced in the Jurassic Park franchise other than other Velociraptor species, and these are a descendant of any Velociraptor that we've had in the franchise, as far as I'm aware. They're a totally different species, so yeah, I have no idea where they've got the DNA file for this. Next.
I think the colours that have been chosen are on purpose. I think they're there to reference that these are obviously DNA from Sorna, but like Chris said, I think these it might come out in the film that these are hybrid, that they're mixed with Velociraptor, because if you look at Ghost, that's obviously a rip-off from the female Velociraptor from Jurassic Park 3. Tiger and Red, you can see the male Velociraptors from the Lost World, and the same with Panthera as well. But going back to what you said, James, about the crate that's from Isla Sorna, it wouldn't surprise me if they give these 4 Atrociraptors almost like a backstory, and then the crate is like a flashback scene, maybe acquiring the DNA from Sorna and then using that to make these 4 Atrociraptors, almost foreshadowing their appearance in the film. That's what I sort of believe.
I think they need to show where it's come from. Like I don't believe they just
that's
put
important.
it in. Yeah, because if they just put that in and go, oh, what we found, you know what I mean? Where are you finding that? So yeah, I think they do need to explain where it comes from. What about you, Mike?
So I think I'm agreeing with you guys. I think these are hybridized with Velociraptor DNA from Sorna. But what I'm actually starting to think for myself personally, in my headcanon sort of theory aspects, is that these are not just biosyn products, but they are Dr. Wu's products. So after the fall of InGen, after Jurassic Park, he may potentially have been headhunted by a Biosyn. So then all the time that he's been working under Masrani Global and potentially other projects in his own time, he's been back funded by Biosyn. So he would have had access to the DNA for the raptors. He would have had access to the DNA for the Giga. He would have had access to various other things. And if you've got all this influential information coming through Masrani Global for new attractions for Jurassic World, I wouldn't put it past Wu's character to take some of that evidence and then be like, oh, Biosyn, I've got this new idea that I want to put. We can do this, we can do that. Because as far as we can tell, the line in Jurassic World where he's talking to Hoskins saying the deal is still valid,
intact, yeah,
doesn't necessarily allude to everything that went on in Fallen Kingdom. I think that was a red herring to make us think that was what he was referring to. I think what he was referring to was everything in Biosyn, and that's where we're getting with all this.
I always thought that line that he said, that Hoskins said to him, I always thought that was pointed, like you said, somewhere completely different. I don't think that was anything to do with Jurassic World whatsoever. I always got the feeling that was pointed out to something he had going on the side in the background that he was doing specially with Wu. So yeah, could be. That's pretty good. That favourite. I like that.
I think.
And you watch now and go smashing down.
I think that these are products from the Raptor DNA, and I think that's where we get the white pattern from. I think that's where we get the tiger pattern from. And I think that's why they're as vicious as they are. So that's where I think they come from. I don't know how and why, obviously, don't know anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reason why. It's almost like our way of getting back to sauna. Rather than going back to sauna for a specific, like another specific reason, like just for like nostalgia purposes. If these guys have gone back to sauna for a particular reason, imagine if they went, and tracked down the JP3 Raptors, drank it, and then nicked a sample of its blood, and then they did the same for the Lost World ones. I don't know. It's just I'm obviously spitballing a load of rubbish here, but it's in my head is the reason it could be the way of getting the DNA for them.
So do you think they try to portray these as much of a pure blood Atrociraptor as they can, or do you reckon they try to portray this as kind of a Atrociraptor, not quite a hybrid, but you know what I'm trying to say, like where it's like with the DNA of a Velociraptor, if you like.
What I don't understand, never understood, is why they've gone for an Atrociraptor, because they're actually really small.
Yeah.
Well, we were saying that earlier.
So it's a Velociraptor.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah.
It's only taken by name, really. It's more of a Utahraptor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, as I've said time and time again, when it comes to films, the idea is that they're there to be entertainment, not meant to be documentary. So they can take it by name and say this is a X dinosaur, but the reality of it will be that it will be there to be made excitement and awesome and and a threat. They're not going to stick something on the screen that's going to be 3 foot tall and barks like a chihuahua and think, oh yeah, I should be terrified of this.
I mean, look at it like this, right? Probably my favorite dinosaur in the Jurassic Park series is the Dilophosaurus, and the Dilophosaurus we know from that has got a frill and is nothing like the original one. Yeah, it's still my favorite one throughout the whole franchise. Yeah, so it's just because of pure entertainment value and how it looks. So never take it too seriously. We try not to anyway.
We do nitpick, but we nitpick out of love.
Nitpick a bit too much, I think, sometimes. But yeah.
Well, they're massive. There's our full-bodied fossil that we've got.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to earlier on.
Yeah, I seen this a couple of weeks ago.
Jesus.
I can't believe
Yeah,
it,
they've certainly
mate.
got the artistic license then.
Yeah, they could put a frill on that or anything, couldn't they? Do what they want with it.
Oh, this is what makes me laugh about a lot of this stuff is like people arguing, oh, it's not accurate. According to this has only got a top jaw.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you could make up anything you want for this.
See, this is where, for me personally, being the person that's very much into the special effects, especially the old retro side of things as well. When you've got a fossil creature and you've only got a thumb or partial skull or just some aspect that it's like, okay, we have an idea that it may have been like this, but we've got no kind of full-on record of how big it could be. You can have a field day with this sort of thing. You know, you could give this thing a 60-foot neck span. No one's going to tell you that you're wrong because you ain't got the fossil evidence to go with it. It's all about the believability of the creature. It's when you get the full-on skeletons and it's like, oh, it looks nothing like the original. It's like, yeah, but again, as I've said before, it's entertainment. It's not a documentary. It doesn't have to look accurate. It just needs to look awesome and threatening.
It's like when the Giga came out.
Like this.
I had I wouldn't say I had issues with the Giga, but I didn't like the hump on the Giga's back. I think it looked a bit too much like an acro. But at the end of the day, the thing you've got to tell yourself in this is it's not an accurate Giga. It's been made by a biogenic company, so it's never going to be true DNA. So it can be as weird as it wants, really. They've got poetic license in that to do so. So I never really get that far into it where I'm like, I'm not watching it. It's not accurate. I'm not watching it. So yeah, no, I'll never be that bad.
Things looking at it, right? I mean, you're just looking at the only fossil material they've got of this animal, and it backs up like what you and me were talking about at the beginning, Chris. It just seems like such a random decision to go with this Atrociraptor. I mean, there's other dromaeosaurs that they could have used that are well more publicly known. I mean, like I said at the beginning, if you're not into paleontology, then the chances of you ever hearing of a Atrociraptor are second to none. But we've all heard of things like Utahraptor, Deinonychus.
Deinonychus.
And Deinonychus is known to be in the franchise anyway. So it's like... Atrociraptors, I mean, as much as I love the design, it seems like such a random decision to go with that, especially basing it off the fragmentary remains that we have of it. So...
It's just that we've had something so similar previously. It would have been so fresh, like the Pyroraptor. The Pyroraptor looks good because we've not had anything in the franchise that's quite like it yet. Similar to the Derry, it's different. It's new. It's exciting, and just like with these, as good as they look, we've kind of seen it. It's been done.
Yeah.
I still think it'll be an awesome scene, and I'm still looking forward to watching it. But I just think they could have done something
brilliant.
better.
We could do it.
I think it'd be a massive opportunity missed that with all the hype that they've obviously tried to promote these Atrociraptors, if we only see them in Malta. Because if that's the only scenes that we see them in that small part of the film, then to me that's going to feel like a massive empty hole. That's going to be like, it's just like it's wasted opportunity, I think. I think these animals, if they're going to fulfill the potential that the filmmakers obviously want them to fulfill, they have to turn up elsewhere.
Yeah.
So the thing is about these now is obviously this is the last one in the franchise.
Don't say that.
Are these surviving Dominion?
Yeah, you
I'd hope at least two of them do.
No, they'll get wiped out.
I would really want at least two. If they're going to wipe them out, that's fine. But I would at least want two of these to survive because we don't know kind of like who potentially is going to end up snuffing it in this film. And if they do decide to make any other films after that point, I would rather have a returning villain that was something that we were rooting to come back as opposed to kind of like, oh God, here we go again, another Indominus Rex. If we can get something like that with these, then I'll be quite happy with that, I think.
I don't think they're going to feature much past Mola, to be honest. There's too much. There's too much of a story that they need to do. don't get me wrong, 2.5 hours is a long time, you know. There's a lot to get through, but I think the 2.5 hours obviously gives the pacing a bit of rest time. You know, a lot of time for dialogue, a lot of time for, you know, almost exposition. It might give us our chance to sort of find out where these have come from, because I reckon, well, the way the story is, isn't it? Like that, Collins even said that it's almost like two stories are going like parallel to each other, and then eventually they meet.
Yeah.
You could probably even say 3 stories, because you've got the original cast with their stories, you've got the current cast, their story, and then you've got the Biosyn side of story, because it's got to show, you know, Dodgson's got to get introduced in this film. And it's got to be done in a way that, you know, people like us that know who Dodgson is, you know, are looking forward to seeing, I wonder how they're going to actually play him out as a character. Or you've got people that have never even read the books, that are watching everything at face value in the movie, that need to find out who this guy is. So I do think there will be a connection to the past, because they're not going to be silly. They're not going to retcon that. I do think we'll get the cryo in this film, but I don't know. The embryos won't be viable, so I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's just sort of sat there in a cabinet, like a cabinet. I would love a back scene, almost like a flashback, but I don't know. That's my perfect scenario of an opening scene. Back in '93, Dodgson arrives on the island within 36 hours, or someone for Dodgson arrives on the island, and the can's got some sort of tracking beacon thing in it, and you know,
I just think that's a bit too convenient.
Oh, I know, but
that's what maybe they,
you know,
like James said, like
scene with original animal, maybe a T-Rex or something attacks them and they escape. I know it's very convenient, but at the same time, I think it's also a good way to bring the can back and Dodgson back. But,
maybe the whole thing with the canister is that, like you said, they retrieve it, but the embryos aren't viable, which obviously we knew they wouldn't be after 36 hours anyway. And maybe that's their reasoning to go back to Sorna, because if you're going by current canon, Sorna's island's completely depleted of any animals now. Yeah. So maybe the flashback is that they go to get the canister, the embryos aren't viable, so they go to Sorna, collect DNA from animals at the time, which would be 1993, 1994, and then maybe that's how the Sorna sort of crate comes into the story, if you like. Because, like I said, I know, like you said, it would be very convenient, but unfortunately, the legacy sort of history isn't going to be a massive part of this, because they're telling a new story, and this is a continuation of that. So I think anything that we get from the past is going to be very minimal, and it's going to have very little impact anyway on the overall. So maybe that's where they go with it.
I think we've had too much promotional material on this can for it not to be part of the movie now. I think we've had quite a lot. I personally don't really want it in the movie, because I think that story's been told, and I think if they were going to pick it up, they should have picked it up in The Lost World. I think for him to have a tracking beacon in it now is just put in as pure convenience, and is just a bit of lazy writing. But if they do it, I'll jump on board with it, but I'd rather than not.
I don't mean the tracking beacon, they go back in time 30 years later. The tracking beacon, I mean, as in it's the, you know, they've retrieved it within, you know, time.
In 93, but I still think, I still agree with Chris. I still think it would be convenient and lazy writing, because if it did have that sort of technology built into it, then I think surely we would have known about it back in 1993.
They would have been it before now.
Yeah, I think it'd be far too convenient to bring it in now, and I think a lot of legacy fans such as ourselves would look back and thinking, really, like what was the point in adding that bit of detail when it really wasn't needed? So that's why I stand on
Well,
that.
if you think about what Dodgerson's character was in '93, I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to kind of like maybe give a different perspective on this.
Yep.
If Dodgerson's trusting his half of his money to some fat nerdy guy of retrieving this DNA stuff and it going smoothly, if he was really wanting to double check himself and making sure he wasn't going to get stabbed in the back, whether Nedry's then going to take those said embryos and give them to somebody else, or to make sure that if he does lose them, he's going to be able to retrieve them, he would put some kind of a tracking device inside the thing and not tell Nedry.
100%.
So you
Yeah, but
could. And like I said, I'm not trying to justify that if they do go down that avenue, that should be a reason. But in terms of how would you write something in without
making it plausible?
make it blatantly obvious. It makes it a bit more plausible.
Oh no,
But
I
then
agree.
maybe
I think
that would be better suited for the Lost World as a follow-up, or even at worst, Jurassic Park 3, because that would have been a better story to get back to Sorna than the bloody one we got.
Yeah.
But
do you know what?
I think 26 years later, excuse me, I think it's far too long. And like Chris said, that story, that we had the perfect opportunity to tell that story, and it's long gone by now. So I can see what you're saying, Mike, but I just don't think it would. With fans such as ourselves, like legacy fans, I don't think we would accept that.
But I do agree with Mike. I do think if they're gonna do it, that's how they're gonna do it.
I agree with that part.
I don't particularly want that.
No.
I think if they're gonna do it, that's how they're gonna do it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you as well, Matt, in the sense that if they're going to do anything with the cryocan thing, it should have been done on the second or hell even the third film. At this point now, 6 films in, as everyone's already said, what the hell's Biosyn been doing this whole time? We're 5 movies in, and we've not heard a peep of them, and all of a sudden it's kind of like, oh, Biosyn's back, and suddenly everyone's like, who? So it's like
that's my concern.
It's very strange that we do that.
Yeah, that's my concern, because I think a lot of newer fans to the franchise that sort of only got interested since Jurassic World 2015 onwards. I mean, a lot of newer fans, they've not even read the book, so they didn't know about Lewis Dodgson, Biosyn, and the whole story that happened in the first 2 novels. So that's my concern, really. Like, because they're going to have to tell that backstory, and I hope they do it justice, really.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm hoping they're going to do in the film is that the cryocan is going to be just kind of like it's a nod in a sense of it's telling the narrative in a story, but it's not kind of like it's the overall arcing aspects of, if we didn't have the cryocan, the whole thing's just going to fall apart. That's what I want it to be. I don't want it to be, I literally do not want it to be a case of the whole film is effectively centered around, oh, we got the cryocan back. When was the cryocan grabbed? Oh, I don't remember a cryocan being on a New Blood back in '93. If the whole film was like that, I think I'd just switch off, because it's like the cryocan is important, but it's not that important. The story that's evolved since 2015 is the important aspect. The cryocan just needs to be kind of like, it's that little what's the word I'm looking for here? The little Easter egg. That's it. Yeah. It's something for us fans to feel, oh yeah, that makes sense that it's here now. And to the new fans, it's like, oh, that's interesting. I need to go back and watch this.
Yeah.
Even if you just see it in like a panning camera shot, and it's just part of that, it kind of focuses on it and stuff, just to kind of give it that little nod to it, and just think, oh, okay,
exactly.
It's kind of like Grant in the tent in the new trailer with the resonating chamber from Jurassic Park 3. That kind of thing. Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, even if they kind of did like the whole Terminator 2 thing, where you've got the arm and the chip in a separate room, and it's kind of like, okay, this is where all our technology stem from, the things that are in the cryocan. That to me would be fine as well. It's because it's leaning on the previous film to advance to what we see in the new story. But if they, like I say, if they take it a different direction, it's like, the whole thing revolves around the cryocan, then it's like, no, sorry guys, you lost me.
I honestly don't think that's going to be the case. I think that the cryocan has some sort of importance to the point of it connects us to Dodgson. They probably could still extract some sort of form of DNA from it, whether it's like the embryo wouldn't be any good, but you know, you never know. The blood could be still okay. Whatever they've got in, I don't know. I don't know how to do it, but whatever I'm sure they can extract some sort of form of.
Yeah, they should be able to extract genetic material. Like you say, the embryo might not be viable for growing into a creature, but the DNA should still be viable. I mean, I can't remember how long
in that
people
can as
say
well,
it takes for DNA to break down anyway. There was, I think.
Yeah.
There was there? There was Velociraptor.
A misspelled Stegosaurus.
Tyrannosaurus, Stegosaurus.
And Tyrannosaurus,
Metric Amphisaurus.
Metric, yeah.
I think Megalosaurus was in there as well, weren't it?
Was it? I'd have to have a look.
I remember something beginning with M. I'll have to double check.
Is it not Metric?
Yeah, Metric Amphisaurus.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Proceratosaurus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've seen a Proceratosaurus image, haven't we? So, yeah. You must have seen that.
Oh yeah, that was one of the very early images, weren't it?
Yeah.
Matt's like, what?
Months ago that came out. We've not seen anything else from it, but yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yes, please.
Matt's wild.
I've never seen
Wasn't it had the COVID mask over its face or something as well?
No, that was an issue.
That was an Atrociraptor.
That was a different one, right? Okay, it's not the one I'm thinking of
then. Bear with me 2 seconds. We should probably end up wrapping up with this anyway, I think, to be honest. So final thoughts while I'm looking for this. Like, what do you favourite raptor? We'll go with what you hope that. Do you hope anyone dies from these animals?
Ghost is my favourite, purely because it just takes me back to the female Velociraptor in Jurassic Park 3. I don't really hope it kills any of the main characters, and I think it's not going to share the screen with many main characters apart from the 2 we see in the trailer, and they're not going to be killed off. So as long as it kills a few people in Malta, I'm pretty much happy, to be honest.
Yeah, I favorite one is going to be Tiger. Similar to Matt's, it's just because my favorite raptor's pretty much always been the Tiger Raptor from Lost World. As much as I like JP3 ones, the Tiger one was always my favorite. It was my favorite toy when I was a kid as well. It used to scream like crazy, and I loved it. Still got it in the back somewhere. But no, yeah, that's favorite raptor. I don't think it's going to kill, or any of them are going to kill any of the main cast members. But I think they're all going to be in that great motor action scene. But I do think that motor bit is the only part we're going to see him in.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to write him out, but yeah.
So for me, it's Ghost, as I said earlier. In terms of what's going to happen in Malta, I would think we're probably going to see a couple of people get mauled. I would like to actually see maybe some, if there is any like Biosyn goons knocking around, I'd like to probably see them getting mauled. And another point I wanted to bring up about the Atrociraptors as well, going on Trevorrow's linking, as the polished turd as it is, Camp Cretaceous series to Dominion. If the mind control thing actually works and it finishes in season 5 with it continuing on into Dominion, what do you guys think about the Atrociraptors being under the influence of mind control?
I don't like the whole mind control. For me, I think it belongs where it is in the cartoon. Like, you know, at the end of the day, if it's in the movie universe, we're just going to have to accept it, and it won't hit nicely with people that, you know, people that find it hard to suspend their disbelief. You know, like, you know, we normally have to, but you know, we really will have to when it comes to stuff like being controlled. Like the Indoraptor thing, kind of get away with because
Yeah.
you know, it reacts to a button, a bit like a dog would react to a whistle.
Yeah.
And like an alarm sort of buzzer. Now, if these guys, I remember Ditchman Lockman, she's got her little character as a toy has got a little button thing, like a controller of a button. I'm wondering if that controller of a button has anything to do with like, and they just go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that could be
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel quite. I would rather not see that in the film.
Yeah, I don't want to see mind control. If I see mind control, I don't want to see mind control, and I don't want to see drones, and I don't want to see Brads. If I see any one of those three, I'm gone. Because that would, for me, that would it just doesn't fit in the movie. Like, it doesn't fit in reality for me. It just takes me right out of it. Like the Camp Cretaceous share, like you said, James, keep it there. It can be as unrealistic as it wants, and we take it for what it is. But once you start bringing that into live action, it just spoils it for me. The Indoraptor thing works, but anything beyond that, I think, is a bit far-fetched.
So what, I'm looking at the poll. We've had 11 votes, and my favourite raptor is last with 9%. Red. I don't know what everyone's got against red. No idea.
Because it's not blue, that's why.
Yeah, that's what annoyed me. It's just a lazy name in red.
Yeah.
It's called anything.
The Microceratus. No, yeah, that's the one I meant. I'm probably talking about the wrong dinosaur.
You are.
This is what I thought was the one we were talking about, but it's not.
Oh yeah, the Microceratus. Yeah.
I've seen that.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about Proceratosaurus.
Oh, all right, mate.
Because when you said, there's a picture of it, I was like, hey.
Right. Do you know what?
I was actually thinking that as well.
Oh, he's gone. There he is.
No, I'm still there. Yeah.
No, I'll kick him out. Right. We have a new guest that's coming in as we're finishing. Brilliant. But at least you come and showed your face, mate. Thank you and welcome. I think why don't we do a quick 5 minutes of, we'll go up to the hour. All right, we'll finish on the hour. So we've got 7.5 minutes of ask us anything related to Dominion. Please keep it trailer 2 spoiler free because Mike hasn't seen it. So anything to do with the first trailer or theories we can smash out. So send your questions in, everybody.
Mike, have you seen the Empire articles?
I've seen the front cover of the Empire magazine. That's it.
But that's it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. That's all I want to see. And so far, I'm actually quite impressed. I've not seen anything to do with leaked images or articles or anything. It's like, I'm quite shocked.
Avoid social media.
I wanted to see. Yeah. Well, this is it. It's like my social media is that filled up with not just that Jurassic folk that I follow, but also like animation, stop motion, like everything else under the sun to do with my general interest. So if I can keep to just looking at those sort of things, then I'll be absolutely fine and dandy. But I was expecting people to be like, have you seen this, Mike? Have you done that? Have you done this? It's like, no, I've not done anything because I don't want to be doing anything. I've got a really good job that I'm very invested in at the moment, and somewhere between 8 to 18 hours of my day are literally just taken up building armatures for people. And then, I just want to go home and sleep half the time. So, so it's like, I ain't got time to be looking on
like you're always at work now.
You've
not been on.
We've got things in development
for a while, have you?
No, and that's mainly just because you guys keep saying, "Oh, we've seen the thing we want to talk about for Dominion." It's like, nope, I'm not coming on. It's like, wait until we start talking about anything non-Dominion related, then I'll come back on.
I've got. It's almost like I've got two little devils sitting in my shoulder in one ear, and then in the other, I've got Matt, who's like, "Oh, have you seen this trailer? Have you seen this? Oh, mate, it's so good. They're bloody spoiling everything, but it's so good." I'm like, oh. And then,
then I asked, "Shall I send it to you?" You're like, Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, go on then. Is that a hard time with me as well?
And then I've got Steve, the other hand, who's like, I don't want to know anything. And then he'll text me randomly, I've just watched it. And I'm like, for God's sakes. So now you've watched it and I haven't. So now I've got to watch it as well now. Like, the willpower is like 0.
No.
I've had to.
You guys are letting yourselves down. You're letting yourselves down.
Muting everyone. Good
Oh,
question.
so have you...
Right, let's go around the table quickly. 5 minutes. Robert Muldoon's favourite line.
Which one do I
They should all be destroyed.
I think that's mine.
Yeah, I actually
They
agree.
should all be destroyed.
I actually think that's my favourite line. I was tossing between that
Yeah.
one and the one he says afterwards about the big one killing all the others. But I think destroyed, I think, is the best one, I think.
Yeah. Because the shoot her and clever girl is gotten to the point where it's just a basic meme now. So it's too obvious. But if you have to really think about all the lines it's saying, the other one that sticks out for me is "They should all be destroyed," and it's just that's a good line delivery right there.
The only other one I would say was even Dennis not to mess with the raptor fences.
Yeah,
I always kind of liked his line. Maybe the lighting contingency, we can put that into effect, and then Hammond just losing it again. That's absolutely out of the question. It's like, that used to always tickle me.
John, we can't get Jurassic Park back online without Dennis Nedry. And I like the one where he says, I like it. How many times I told you the locking mechanism? I do like that one because he's just like some pissed off dude that's just constant. It reminds me of the caretaker that's moaned that everyone keeps leaving the bloody windows open and the heating on.
Do you know what? The more you actually think of what his lines in the movie are, even the one where we can't because we're being hunted. It's just like he's got some great lines in that movie.
I think I like the one where it says, "Quiet, all of you." Because I remember when he said that, I instantly went in my as a kid. I was like, "Oh my god!" But that got my attention. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the next scene's like.
Yeah.
Even though we talk about Jurassic every day, like we have a WhatsApp chat and we talk about it every day. And I only watched Jurassic Park 3 days ago. Even talking about this with Muldoon now, I want to go and watch Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Yeah. The trailer and images spoiled the anticipation, and now I wish I didn't watch the trailer. Yeah.
That's why I'm not watching anything.
Do you know what? I wish I could go into a movie like this and not watch anything. I would absolutely love to be able to do that, but I just can't do it.
Credit where it's due, I think, with Universal, for once,
not spoiled.
They've not been as painfully bad as they have done.
Yeah, I actually agree.
I agree.
I think this film is so different and unlike anything we've ever had before that the only concept I've got from the trailer is something to do with Owen. His story. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Anything to do with, all these new characters and new things, I still have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because there's things in the film that we know are in the movie, but they've not showed in either of the two trailers, like Rexy, Dodgson. So I'm glad they're keeping a lot of it still hidden. And it's weird because on YouTube, I don't know who it was. I don't even follow this person, but they've done a compilation of every Jurassic Park /World trailer from 93 to present day. It even included Dominion. And when you watch the original trilogy's trailers, so very little was sort of shown. That's why the reception from the fans was so much bigger and better than what they are currently. Yeah. And you can tell when the Fallen Kingdom...
that was shocking.
Is a disgrace of a trailer because it showed you the plot in order. Yeah. And it's like, Jesus Christ. But
I said as soon as I watched the trailer, the first trailer for Dominion, and it shown that glass, not for Dominion, for Fallen Kingdom, and it shown that the glass roof above it and the trike below it, you knew how it was dying straight away.
it was so easy for like, it was so easy for us to sort of look at that and say, well, that's what's going to happen. That's going to play a major part in the film. But with Dominion, credit to where it's due, really, Universal. They haven't really given that much away from what I can see. So, but it's TV spots that worry me, because that's where they sort of add extra things. And problems with me, I can't help but watch them because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm similar with the TV spots. I've been a bit more shy in the last couple of days.
Yeah, that was my issue with the Fallen Kingdom trailers, and that's what I'm trying not to have a repeat session again with them. Because I want to try and get into this as much, like I want that 1993 experience all over again, where I saw the one trailer and that was it. I might have read the odd article here and there, but I was not clued up about anything until I actually got through the cinema doors and came out with it a changed boy. So it's like I don't want to be spoiled out with TV spots. I don't want to see a second trailer. Hell, I don't even want to see interviews with the cast and members and everything, because someone's going to be like, oh well, and then there's this scene where the thing with the dinosaurs and the effects team was like, but I can't say too much, but I'm still going to tell you what happened. So it's like, God, no. So I just want to avoid all that as best as possible.
Last question, because we need to wrap up. Did you get any Jurassic Park toys from Burger King before? I want to say no, but I did when I was a kid. I remember having the drinks things from McDonald's. I think it was.
Yeah,
it was the cup with the cartoon artwork on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the ones I'm on about?
Yeah,
I think so.
I had the Gallimimus one.
I'll see if I can find them quickly.
I remember collecting the coins from DG Tips. Or Tetley. I think it was Tetley.
Tetley.
I still got a Lost World Compy coin.
Yeah. I think I've still got some.
I've had 20 odd years.
I've not only got all of the coins, I've actually got the collector's binder with information pack that they came with, especially, which I actually got from a charity shop for like £1.
Mate, if I could fist bump you, I would, because I've got that as well.
Fist bump. Yeah, I literally went through Tetley tea for months collecting all those times. I even got my grandparents to like keep their eye out for ones, and half the time they kept getting me duplicates. And the last one I ever got was the one I found hardest to find, was the Pachycephalosaurus. And on the very last try, I got it. It's like, yes, I got it.
My Jurassic Park toy collection is a bit of a sad story. I started collecting from the Lost World, and when I turned about 14, my mum gave all my toys away to a neighbour. And I had like the Spinosaurus from '97, the Parasaurolophus, Pachycephalosaurus. Yeah, my mum gave them away. Come in from school one day, and she said she'd give them to the kid next door. Gutted.
Don't know if I can actually show you, because I don't know if my laptop's going to turn around, but just there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can see it, you bastard.
Let me make that bigger.
Oh, mate.
How do I choose? How do I do this?
I don't know. How do you do it?
How do I make you bigger? I don't want me. I don't think I can select you.
Can you that?
Well, either way, just for
there you go.
Visual. There you go. 93's Command Compound Center.
Yeah, Compound Center. And somewhere, hold on, I've also got. Where is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
complete with
bastard.
Ellie.
That's the old one.
Yeah, that's the OG.
That's the old one.
Jeez.
So where's its front rail and camera?
I've got that. Yeah, I've got that down there.
Has it still got the missile launcher at the back?
It has, but it's in a bag with all the other dinosaurs. So yeah, everything is there somewhere knocking about. I think it's in a bag in the other room. But I've got the JP Gate, I've got the dialogues, I've got all the characters. So I have got most of it.
And here's me with nothing.
I used to have the whole.
yes.
Well, I say the whole thing. I think I was only missing like 2 toys at the time, but yeah, my mum did the same. To give it all to my niece and nephew. I managed to reclaim the Triceratops, the Red Rex, and the Raptors with the Dimetrodon. But that's it so far. I still need to go back and try and get
right.
it.
Can I ask you a question? I don't know whether you'll remember. On your Dimetrodon, is the back leg the wrong way?
Yes. It's also the wrong size in terms of its height. So when you put all the 4 feet flat to the ground, one leg's like slightly higher than the rest. It's like fucking
I always used to
bloody Dimetrodon.
I always used to think mine was a defaulted one, but yeah, I think that's just the way they were.
Yeah, these are the cups I was talking about that I had.
Yeah. Oh, I had the Brachii as well. I forgot about the Brachii. Yeah, so I had the Gallimimus and the Brachii.
I think I had the Rex and the Dial.
And the back of them had a like a little thing about them.
Yeah,
a little information blurb, didn't it? That's right.
Yeah, with the little.
You just don't get the same
You
stuff
really
anymore.
need to like. No, I mean that's the one thing I kind of think McDonald's are failing at is that they've gotten rid of plastic toys, so we've now all got like cardboard cutouts or whatever the hell they are. But do something special with the cups. Make your cups collectibles rather than just the same paper shit over and over again. So I'd love to have a Dominion set like that.
I know.
Yeah. Or even do like a Monopoly thing that they do, but Jurassic Park.
I think they'll do all that sort of stuff post Dominion, to be honest, when they start running out of ideas to get money.
Yeah.
Anyway, boys, thanks again for joining me on this Atrociraptor talk. Thank you for everybody who tuned in to the live chat. Obviously, if you're new, then don't forget to like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Hopefully, you'll enjoy more of our content. There's lots of stuff on the channel. Also, if you are watching this post the live, feel free to leave a comment down below because I like reading through. I always reply to every comment I get, even the ones that are rude. Hopefully, they won't be. So anyway. Life. We'll find a way. Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you later.